Good morning. So we'll run through the usual things. So if anyone's new, this is what it's going to make it feel like Pilates. So that's what you need to think about. So we want to get 4 curves at the back. So you got to curve into the neck, curve out top of the back, curve it in at the low back, and curve out the tailbone. And feel like you're standing as tall as you can. Feel like you're stretching up. If you're in a seat, if you're seated and you're not going to be standing, still think about trying to stretch up as much as you can. Get the spine with, excuse me, those curves. Now, you can think like a string running to the top of your head. So once you got in those positions, the main curve you're interested in terms of Pilates is this low back curve. Because when you've got that, when your hips in position, you'll have that low back curve. And when your hips there and your curves there, your core is in a good position to work. And everything about Pilates is about working the core. So you work in every exercise. So core muscles do several things, one of which is flatten your stomach. So that's what you're going to use for this bit of it. So, excuse me, I'm going to cough. Find your belly button, bring your fingers below your belly button. Now, feel like you're going to pull your belly button back slightly, like you tighten the belt up a couple of holes. So you got any pair of jeans, one size too small, that sort of feeling. And you pull in, and then just feel like you've lifted your belly button up, which pulls in the pelvic floor, which are very important things to you. They are the floor of the core, if you want to put it that way. So they actually hold internal organs in position. So if they are in position, they're going to work more efficiently. So it's an important thing. You put it in, you put the belly button in, lift it up. Next thing, the breathing. You're going to hold your belly button, you're going to hold your belly in, you're going to hold your core in. So when you do that, deep belly breathing isn't the thing. You can't really do it. You'll be moving your core around. So it's not right for Pilates. It's right for lots of other things, but it's just not right for Pilates. So instead of that, you breathe thoracically. You breathe up into your ribs. You breathe out to the sides. It's called lateral thoracic breathing. Lateral to the sides, thoracic to chest, or that area. So you can either touch your fingers together and set them on the bottom of your ribs, or you can put your hands like this on so your hands are just on your side of your ribs. If you have a strap there, that's going to be your guide, physical guide. It's going to be there the whole class. Reminds you where you're supposed to breathe. So it's a good, very useful tool. So you can do it either way. So I'm going to do it this way today. So you're either going to breathe up in the ribs, and when you do, you'll feel your fingers come apart slightly, and then you're breathing in, come down. Now you're taking deep breaths in and out. So we generally shallow breathe. So you're taking deep breaths. So that could actually make you feel like you're a bit dizzy. So if you ever do feel like that, just stop immediately and sit down so that you're not going to fall down. Breathe up in the ribs, up in the chest, lift the core. So, I've been teaching 21 years and I've maybe seen that 3 or 4 times. So it does happen, not very often. But it can. So if you do feel dizzy, don't persevere. Just stop, sit down, take a drink if you got a drink handy. You lift the core in, breathing up in the ribs, breathing into the chest. It's the same thing when you get your hands here. You feel like you're pushing your hands with your ribs in this case. And last one. Now, so you put your core in, you're breathing up in the ribs, next thing shoulders. We tend to carry shoulders forward. So this is how you get that sorted. You feel like you're just lifting your shoulder blades up, bring your shoulder blades a bit closer together and slide them down. So there's no real effort involved in this. You're just lifting up, slide the shoulders close together without squeezing anything, and then slide down. So if you can see yourself in camera, or if you can see yourself in a mirror, or if you're out in a shop window, you should be able to see your thumb and the finger beside it. And that will tell you that the shoulders are in a good place. Shoulders are back, shoulders are down. If you see this, you can see knuckles. You can see any of your knuckles. You can see there that my shoulders are now rounded. Now, I'm still using my core and standing upright, but the chances are you won't be using it so much and you'll end up there. So just if you catch yourself on like that, just do a quick shoulders back and down. Make it a habit. Make your muscles work. You're making the muscles tighten up. That hold your shoulders in position. You're stretching the chest a bit. The muscles are going to pull your shoulders around, so it helps correct that. So, I mean, Pilates should be an all day, every day thing, just to some degree. It's not just a 1 hour class, really. So, if you can think about putting your core a bit when you're in normal times, not 2 holes, but just a little bit, like half a hole, bring your shoulders back and down, standing tall. You're going to get the benefit of the Pilates while you're just doing other stuff, day to day stuff. Highly recommend it. Right, so you've done that. Now, the usual 3 things that I use just to get your brain connected with the muscles, your brain in Pilates mode, if you like, and get joints moving, get the joints moving, get different parts of the body moving. Some parts of the body will be stretched, and some parts will be trying to connect and contract. So it's just waking it all up so that your body knows Pilates is about to happen. So you stretch up, lift your tailbone, tighten, get it so it helps you get that wee curve, just lifting your tail. Tighten on your glute so that you're aware of it. You're not clenching, you just tighten a bit, you just a little bit, just you know there's something there. Now, and for everybody that's a bit different. If your glutes were weak, you'd have to tighten a bit more. If your glutes are strong, you wouldn't have to tighten very much. So so that's why I'm just saying where you're aware of it. So drop your chin down, arms are limp, just let your arms relax so it can be free up the top of the back. Roll it all the bones down, one after the other. And then you're unwinding, one point at a time, and you're coming back up. You lift the core up, stretching out your thigh, breathing up into the ribs. So if you've got osteoporosis, there's a good chance you'll be safe while you're doing that. But just to be extra careful, if you round down, just so that you're about halfway down your thigh and then roll back up, you're dropping the chin down, rounding over, just halfway down your thigh. Just get a bit of movement in the upper back. Now, for everybody else, you want to try and move the whole of the spine, so you're rounding over as far as you can go until you're at the base of your spine. Hips staying steady. So I'm at the base now. Hands are top of the kneecaps, just slightly under the top of the kneecaps. But it's different for everybody again. Depends on your arm length and all that. You're folding over, breathing out as you do, arms are loose. And then you're going to roll back up, tighten on the glutes, so that makes the spine movement. If your back's tight, your brain will just like to cheat for you. And it'll like to just throw your hip backwards so that it's a hip movement and not a spine movement. But you look like you're getting down, but you're not rolling the spine. So last one. So it gets the spine moving, gets your brain to realize this is what's going to happen during class. And then relax. You're using your core to hold bones so that they will move safely. So core muscles can stop bones moving altogether, or like a brace position, or they can allow bones to move safely or be moved safely by the other muscles that aren't core muscles. Right, next one. Core muscles also are your balance muscles. They keep you upright. So what I'll get you to do, put your core in. You're going to use balance to challenge your core, but it's about your core. It's not about balance. So you can step foot forward, lift your core in up, and then you can keep your toe on the ground if that allows you to focus on the core, or you can lift your leg if that gives you more challenge. I'm just lifting my foot slightly. Or you can even start to draw a circle. You can lift the core in up, breathing up into the chest, scooping in, tighten on the glutes. Only one of them will tighten, but you feel like you're tightening them both. Lift the core in up. So today I'm going to keep the toe on the ground. Actually, today you can continue to do your circle. Breathe out for one, breathing in on the other. So, for those that don't know me, I have chronic psoriatic arthritis, which goes to my joints and destroys my joints. Left knee needs replaced, right knee has been replaced, and today it's not really like in that circle, so I'm just going to keep a toe on the ground. So always do what's right for you on the day. And then bring that back and change sides. So you've lifted the core and up again, tighten on the glutes. One leg forward. You can try and lift, you can try and do the circle. You try not to lean. So you're breathing up in the rib, lifting the core and up, scooping in. You're drawing your circle, breathing up your ribs. It's not about circles, so don't worry that you've done circles on one leg and not on the other. It's about focusing on putting the core in, which you will have done on both sides. You're lengthening out the top leg, breathing up the ribs. I'm actually standing on the wooden floor that you can see. If you stand on your mat, particularly if it's a spongy mat, it will make this more of a challenge. Carpet will also make this more of a challenge. So if you got a tile floor or a wooden floor, you should find it's still a challenge, but doable. And then bring it down, and I'll get you to this is the correct that rounded shoulder position. So what do? You press your heels together. Now this arm action is actually taken from one of the original Pilates exercises called double leg stretch. It's now we're using it to stretch the chest and get them up in the shoulders working. So for that reason, you're only going to go backwards with the arms. You're not going to go forwards. So you stretch out, bring the arms back as close to past the ears as you can. Now when you start, you won't probably get your arms behind you. You won't. It just probably isn't going to happen for most people. So you're breathing, you're coming around. I'm not going to actually tell you when you breathe in, though. If you can breathe in, just bring the arms around the side. It will help give you a stretch. But other than that, it's sort of too long a movement for me to start telling you when to breathe and when not to. So you're breathing up in the chest still, and you're stretching around the side, turning your arm so that your thumb's slightly back. You can imagine that you're standing next to a wall and you want to bring your thumb down the wall. And as you do this, you should find that you start to stretch the chest. You pull your core in so your bones don't move, that being the spine. You tighten your glute so your hip doesn't move. So when you stretch out through the arms, when you've done a few, the chest muscles, pectoral muscles should start to stretch. And that should allow you then to get your hands slightly behind you. Sort of shoulder impairments and things permitting. And obviously, if you know you've got something like shoulder impairment and you've been told by a physio not to do something, and then, listen to your physio and do what your physio told you. I'm certainly not going to try and do something that you've been told is contraindicated, as it's normally referred to. If it is going to cause you a problem, and if you're doing something that's going to hurt, as in a sharp or burning sort of nerve pain, stop immediately. If you're doing something and it hurts, like it's sort of achy, dull, achy sort of pain, usually, that's fine, carry on. Do your last one, and then relax. For those of us with arthritis, so given the autoimmune ones like mine, the psoriatic arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, or there could be the one that sort of everybody's going to get over time, your osteo, you one you get from wear and tear. If you only did exercise that didn't hurt, you might not do anything. Most movements are going to hurt you, so you just got to be aware of what hurts, what isn't going to cause you a problem over time, and what hurts like sharp burning pain, like a nerve pain that is going to cause you a problem, and you need to know when to stop and when not to. So next, right, I'm going to get you down. So you're going to run down. So I'll give you a choice here. So this is one of my exercises, by the way. So it's based on two of the original Pilates exercises. So the frog, which comes from the reformer, that's the leg position you're going to be in. And the movement is like a single straight leg or a double straight leg, depending on which one you're going to do. But because you're in the frog, it changes it. So You bring yourself down. And the shoe will give you a seated first. It's going to give you some degree of strength into the inner thigh. So I'll tell you that in a minute. So you bring one leg up, you bring the other leg up. Now, 90 degrees would be the minimum. So ankles level with knees. But if you could, I'm going to come that way so you can see the camera. So my knees are apart with Peter and a V. But if you can bring your ankles higher than your knees, you're going to get more out of this. It's going to give you more of a challenge. So we tend to be stronger than we think we are. Everybody's basically is stronger than they think they are. So if you know there's no medical reason why you shouldn't do this, pull your core in and you're going to bring both legs down to the point before your back arches, that lifts. You feel like you're trying to flatten your back essentially. Now, you might not move very much. And then you pull back. If you do that, you think, no, that's really not for me. I've tried it and I know that it's not. You can do it one leg at a time, but make sure you're really turning the leg out. So you're trying to push your knee away and you're trying to pull your heel in. You breathe out to go down, or sorry, breathe in to go down, breathe out to pull back up. Normally the breathing's all the way around in this sort of exercise, but I actually want you to breathe out on the effort of pulling up because I want to work the inner thigh. So you can do it either way. If you're seated, bring your leg forward, turn it out into that frog shape, and then try to just lift your leg in that frog shape. It's going to work on the inner thigh. So you got that choice. So you're in that turned out position. So you're either bringing the two legs down, getting to the point just before your back arches, feel like you're trying to flatten. When you're pulling the leg back up as you breathe out, a leg or legs, you're not trying to flatten because you can do it pretty easily. So you're breathing in, you down. So again, I'll do another two leg one. I'll do this one leg one next time. And you're gonna pull it back up. It's the same. In that seated first leg I just gave you, you're breathing out to pull your leg back up. Breathing in, bring it down. Same as this. So you're bringing it down, lift the core up, breathing up in the ribs. You do two more. So either with one leg at a time, I'll count as one repetition, or you can do it with two legs. Obviously, each time you down is going to count as a repetition. So I'm bringing it down, breathing out, breathing in to pull back up. So the way it works, the way I wanted it to work is, as you go down, you're stretching your inner thigh, which puts it in a weaker position. And then you're going to use the now stretch muscles to pull it back up, which makes them work very hard. So to strengthen the muscle, you need to make it work harder than it normally does. It's called overloading the muscles, but that's essentially what it is. It's making it do more than it normally does. And that's the only way you're going to strengthen muscles. And keep hugging these inner rocks side to side. And it is undoubtedly, in my opinion, the more physical strength that you have, the more independence it will give you. You can do things that you don't, if you're stronger, you'll be able to do things that you don't need to ask other people to help you with, which is a brilliant thing. So 3 feet down one at a time. And you slide 9 feet away and you push back up. Use your hands, push back up. So taking the pressure off your back. Right, this is taken from physical therapy exercise, not based on original Pilates, but it does a great job at working this muscle above the knee. So it's my version of the physio exercise, which I changed specifically to work more on the inside of the knee. So vastus medialis oblique, there is the technical name. VMO normally gets referred to because of the length of the name. VMO does a great job in that stabilizes your knee. So it makes it much easier when you're walking upstairs, all that stuff. So you're sitting upright. You're sitting upright. And if you can stay in this position, you work more towards the top of the leg. But say, I want to work down lower, so you lean back, and that makes the effort go down towards your knee. So you're leaning back, hands are beside your hips on the floor, but treat them like a stabilizers on a bike. You don't really want to put weight through them, but they're there if you need them. So you're gonna roll your leg out. You're gonna roll your leg out, and you're gonna lift it up, and then you bring it down on the floor, roll it in, and lift it up. You roll out, breathe out, lift it up, bring it down, roll in, and lift it up. So when you're about to lift, you should just see the muscle here twitch, really. It's just starting to contract, but you should just see like a twitch or a jump in the muscle, and then lift. It's entirely possible that you won't see that. If you don't see that, you need to wake the muscle up. And the easiest way to do that is to slap it flat of your hand, to slap it with a steady sort of sensation. And then you should find when you go to do that, that suddenly it's doing what it's supposed to. So again, I learned it from a course for neurological medical conditions, particularly MS. So what you've done essentially is, when you give it a slap, pain signals go up from the nerve to say, hey, we're under attack here. I'm letting you know, brain. But the brain will now send a message down and say, yeah, no, you were under attack, but you're not now, and I know where you are now. So it starts to make the muscle work. So it's a great way, quick way to get your brain to connect to muscles that might otherwise not be using the way it should. And it's brilliant. And last one, I bring it down, and you just bend the knee up, give it a bit of rub, slap, or whatever, get blood into it, change over. Oops. So again, it will work. It will still work muscles inside the seated position. I'm not sure it's going to hit directly on the knee as much. I must try that. So you're rolling out, but it definitely is going to work muscles and thighs, so it's going to be a great benefit to you. So you go lift up, breathing out, roll it in, and lift. And it should relax. You should see it should soften, and then it should work as you're coming up. So today, my muscle pulling is not as good as it should be. This is the knee that needs replaced. Harder to work muscles in arthritic leg, but essential that you do. That's better. I can feel it now where I want to feel it. You're rolling out and lifting up, breathing in as you come down, breathing out as you lift, breathing in to roll it in, lift it up. I'll do two more V's. We'll call this Jenny's V. I'm not going to get into the whole details of why it's called Jenny's V, but it's named after a girl called Jennifer. I trained to be a Pilates instructor. He first showed me the physio exercise. And break down, give her up, we slap. And right, I'm going to get you to do a roll up, which is forward bending, forward flexion. So I have to give this every time I teach this exercise, whether it's in this class or in my own normal classes. I will always give this warning essentially. Excuse me. If you have a band, you can take the band. I really like the bands because they guide you up. So they guide you to do the exercise properly, and they take the weight off your neck. If you don't have a band, you can bring your hands together like this. Just mesh fingers together. Press on the back of the head with your elbows apart. That will also take the weight off the back of the neck. You're going to have to think, though, that you don't push your head down, chin into your chest. You want a gap between chin and chest as you roll up. Same with the band. So it's based on the Pilates roll up exercise. It's basically the bottom part of that exercise, but it's just brilliant for moving your spine. Okay, so you're down. Whatever version you're going to do. Again, if you can do this But you can do it from a seated position. It's not going to be as strong. I'm not going to tell you that it is, but you're going to get that movement in the spine, which is really important. So if you take a band, bring it, if you're using the band, take it so that it's about a screwdriver distance from your head, elbows apart, or say you can have your elbows apart, your hands behind your head. Normally, you come into this position I'm in now is sort of 45-degree angle for the knee. Just slide your feet away. It takes it down towards it takes the effort focus down towards your belly button, which I consider be considerably more useful. It should also allow you to move more bones or help in that direction. So you put your core in. The warning that I'm got is that if you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, if you were to do this and crash back into the ground, you could break or crack vertebrae. Obviously, you're not going to be doing that. So I'm going to give you an alternative. The same alternative goes for people who have anything pressing on their spinal column, which tend to be bulging or prolapsed discs, but can be other things. So if you've been told you have anything pushing into your spinal column, it tends to get called stenosis, but it may just be, you may not hear that word, but it tends to be called that. If you that's really dangerous because you could damage your spinal column. So you wouldn't be doing this to the full extent. So if it's not safe for you to flatten your back, you won't. What you'll do is you'll start to come up. You've got your tomato under your chin. I'm making sure I don't flatten my back. Imagine a grape there I don't want to squash. So I'm not going to move that much, but the muscle's being told to tighten, it's being told to work, so you're going to keep the muscle, going to maintain it. You get some degree of movement. If you're happy, you're safe, you can press your back into the ground, which gives you more range of motion and allows the muscle then in front to contract more. Because you press your back into the ground, it's going to make those muscles soften. Because they've softened, your brain can make the muscle of the front work in a more efficient way. So you're making more of a balance between the two. You're getting rid of the imbalance between the two. So you're rounding forward, breathing out. You're breathing in as you come down. Same, if you're not flat, your back's the same. You're rounding forward, breathing out, but you're only coming up to the point before your back flattens, and then you're going to breathe in as you come down. So if you're not moving joints, they're probably going to get stiff. If you're not using muscles, you're probably going to lose them. Your brain doesn't maintain muscles that it doesn't use. It's the old, if you don't use it, you lose it thing. This is very true. The brain likes to save energy. It takes for a fair bit of energy to maintain muscles. So brain's not going to maintain them if it does. It just seems if it doesn't need to, or it feels it doesn't need to. So you're breathing out the way up. Elbows still wide. Don't let the elbows come in. If you keep your elbows wide, I find it works these muscles down the outside your obliques. So you get a bit more strength out of it. It makes it a bit more efficient. The last one. And you can bring it down and you can do this lovely stretch. It's really easy. Stretching out through the legs, stretching out through the arms. And if you're seated, you can stretch out above your head. And if you feel like you're stretching out through your legs, if that's possible for you, then again, you will still stretch. So, and then bring it back and then roll work. So, strength's my thing. And this thing is said, strength makes everyday life much easier. It also makes tends to make you feel more confident in yourself. So it helps with mental well-being. I do think strength's very important. But if you're stiff, inflexible, tight, you're not going to be able to use your strength. So you do need stretch. You need stretch to allow you to use that strength. So stretch is also important. I say strength is my main focus. And I'm going to get you swan dive. Again, if you're seated, it'll be hands on hips if you can, or if you don't have room, you're going to put your hands. Let's see, you can put your hands on you. Put your hands across your chest. Actually, would be a better option. And then you're going to stretch up and bend backwards without leaning backwards. You kind of bend backwards. So for everybody else, what you're going to do is you're going to come down onto the floor. If you can get on the floor, turn your legs out. Much you can. Yeah, you turn your feet out, and the thumbs are level side of my head. I'm trying to press my legs together with emphasis on the word trying. I think it's quite difficult to press your legs together, but the attempt is going to turn the muscles on, which is why you're doing it. So that's fine. You feel like you're trying to press your legs together. When you turn your legs out, you should feel the muscles in the bottom here, your gluteal muscles tighten up, but just tighten them enough to be aware of them again. So even a bit more than that. Then what you do? This is to get your upper back stretching. So this is what I use this exercise for, is to get mobility in your spine. So you stretch out, neck stays very long, so you're not moving your head at all, no wrinkles in the back of the neck, and you're going to try and bend, peel yourself off the mat, you stuck with Velcro, bend backwards. So you should find when you bend, the weight goes towards your elbows. So your elbows are going to stay on the floor. And then you're coming back down. So I want the upper back to bend, feeling you're pushing your chest forward, feeling you're really trying to bend the upper part of your back in rather than out. That's what you should feel that towards your upper part of your back there. It's thoracic spine, it's the bit that your ribs attached to, the bit that curves out, the largest portion of your spine, to be honest. So if it's flexible and it moves and it works like it should do, then all of the nerves coming out between the discs are more likely to do what they should do, and your whole body's going to work in a better way. If your upper thoracic spine gets tight from being bent forward more than it should and held in that position, then it's likely to be less space for those nerves, and they could get squeezed. They could become a bit Chinese whispers, and the messages don't get through the way they should, and things start to go wrong further down your body. So it's important to say to keep it moving, keep it flexible. So that's why you're doing this. You're lifting the core, breathing up in the ribs. So I say I use it for that flexibility aspect. You can't. You have to be using strength to get that flexibility. There's no such thing as a strength exercise or a flexibility exercise that does one thing only. They always do both. So you're going to feel it in the low back, it's working hard, the glutes are working hard, you pull your core in, that's working. You're pressing down through your arms, so the back and the arms are all going to work as well. You may even feel a bit of shoulders, so there may be a lot of muscle working. But my emphasis and focus is on this bend into the upper back, and you're peeling your ribs off the floor, one at a time, and that'll be your last. So, choices to stretch your low back. You can sit back on your heels in that rest position like child's pose in yoga, but make sure you're tucking your tail between your legs so your knees will be together, or close together, and won't be apart. That won't work for my knees, so I generally roll on the back and sort of do the same thing upside down. So again, I'm tucking my tail underneath to get that low back stretch. You could do this on your side, like in a fetal position, or you could do like a cat stretch, if you know that from yoga, where you're on your hands and knees and you're arching your back like an angry cat and dropping your head down. You could be doing that. Again, I can't do it because you can't put weight through a knee that's been replaced. And you can just push back up, bring yourself to seated. I'll do this. I don't think I've done this in any other classes. Oh, well, not this time around anyway. So you can do it with a band, you can do it without a band. Okay, band gives resistance. I like bands because they give you resistance. The resistance helps strengthen the muscles. The stronger muscles are, the more they'll pull on the bones. the more they put in the bone, the more the brain will respond by strengthening the bone. So it's great for bone health. If you're not using band, you're using your own body weight. So again, it's going to help strengthen the muscles, and you get the same end results. So it's good for bone health. So strong muscles are important for more than one reason. So if you can tie your band, or you can use one of those wee loop bands, they're very good. You can tie your band and do it, or use that, and you put it slightly just around about halfway up your shin, maybe slightly lower than halfway. I say you can do exactly the same exercise without a band, and you'll still get benefits. You'll still feel it. But the band just helps give you a bit more. With the band you might be able to do as many repetitions. So that's fine. So you lift your bottom rib, and you lift your tailbone. Make sure your back's curved in like you're standing. Because remember, that's where your core works best. Don't have your back rounded out. Now, make sure you have one hip bone directly above the other hip bone. Your brain will love to throw your hip back. Don't let that happen. So there, what you're going to do, in fact, bring your that top hip forward slightly. Then what you do is, if you start by lifting your knees slightly, so your knees are apart but your feet are together. Keep your leg in that position with your ankle and foot lower than your knee, and lift your leg up. And then you're going to breathe in, come down so your feet will touch, and let the knees come together. Lift the lower knee first, and then keep it that it's a bit higher than your foot. Your foot's a bit lower than your knee, whichever way your brain works. Think of it. You're going to breathe out, lifting up. You're going to breathe in, come down. You scoop it in up. So this is taken from an exercise called the hinge originally, but I call it least leg lifts. Again, I've named it after one of my clients who really liked this exercise. And once you've done it, you should realize that if you do like this exercise, you really do deserve it to be named after you. So you've lifted up, lifted up. So by now, hopefully, just tightening the glute bit will help you brain find glute. But by now, hopefully, you're getting a sort of burning sensation, hopefully around here, just behind the hip bone. The object isn't to get that burning sensation, but if you do get it, it lets you know that you're working in the right area. If you feel something in the back of your leg, your hamstrings doing all the work, and you don't want that, so make sure your feet are forward. They're further forward than your knees. So, so you're landing on your back, but your ankles are higher than knees. That's going up camera. There it is. So your ankles are a bit further forward. If you're back here, your hamstrings going to work. So just bring your feet forward, and we'll get to do two more. You're going to lift up. So it's not about height. Don't worry about the fact you're not getting much height. It's about keeping your hips steady while you move your leg. So, and just get a bit of rub again, a bit of slap, get the blood in there and change the sensation. And then change it over. So again, knees. Oops. The band's halfway up your shins or just slightly lower. Your feet are forward. I'm actually going to keep the band on because it's probably easier for you to see the leg moving. So you've lifted your bottom rib again. You want to feel like your bottom rib's a little bit off the floor. Now, it might not be, but as long as you feel like you're lifting the bottom rib, that's what you want. Don't let it sink into the floor. Don't let your waist sink in. Make sure your knees are up, same height as your hip. Very important. Bring your feet forward. So the knee lifts first, and then the ankle follows. And then you're coming down, feet together first, knee comes down. Now you may well, particularly if you use the band, you may well now find that lower hip is really quite sore. Okay, it's really working. The lower leg, the hip and the lower leg stabilizes, so it's already worked. So you're going to feel it quicker in the top side because it's already worked. But the lower ones already work quite a lot. So it's going to feel that, it's going to now stabilize, and you're going to feel it straight away probably. You're breathing out as you lift. Breathing in as you come down. As a result, you may well find, and I'm certainly going to find here, that you don't get as many repetitions. But remember that both work twice, both sides. I'm not concerned about that. And that's my last one. And then bring it down, get her up and slap. So please leg lift. What that does is what that does that other exercises don't do when you're lifting your leg up is when your knees level with your hip, piriformis, which is the biggest muscle in your hip, behind your hip that isn't the glutes, will act like a called adduction, but bring your leg away from there, your sort of middle of your body. So you're actually getting to work piriformis there when normally it wouldn't be working in those sort of exercises. It's great. So piriformis is good muscle to work. Excuse me. I'm going to get two teammates. I'm going to change the order. So I should have given a seated version of that. What you can do is turn the leg out and then just slide your heel on the floor, actually without putting any weight through your heel. So sorry, I'm a bit late in the day giving you that, but that's what you can do. Heel beats. Heel beats. If you're seated, what I would get you to do is press your legs against the chair and just try and slide your feet together like a steel beating these flippers. So slide your feet back and do that. So for everybody else, this is heel beats. This is one of the original exercises done by Romana. So the lady who called it Pilates, so it's definitely original Pilates. Mr. Pilates, James Pilates, called it Contrology. He never ever called it Pilates, so we'll definitely refer to James Pilates exercises and Romana exercises, but they're all sort of seen as the original exercise, if you like. So turn the legs out, shoulders back, shoulders down. Bring your hands round, one hand's the top of the other. So it's one hand top of the other like that. You put your head on it, put your head on top of your hands, put your head in a good position, safe for your neck, safer for your neck. You stretch out through both legs and you lift and you aim to do 10 beats in one out breath, and you're going to breathe in, come down. So, all right, 10 down that way around, but I'm going to change. I can't fully straighten my left leg because of the arthritis, but I can fully straighten the right leg because I had a knee replacement. So I'll do it that way. It looks better from the camera point of view. There you are. So you're aiming the left, do your beats, pull in the core in. So you're going to work the glutes. So you're stretching through your heels and beating your feet together like a ceiling beating its flippers. And beating the feet together. That's it. Lift the core up, breathing up in the ribs. You stretch out, scooping the core up, breathing up into the chest. So, I actually love natural history. So I'm just gonna point this out. You're stretched out, lifting the legs, lifting up, breathing up in the ribs. Try and get 10 beats in one out breath, and then breathing down. Very important, you only use one out breath to lift, one out breath, and one in breath to come down. So if you find you're not getting 10, try to take deeper breaths to get as close to 10 as you can. If you find you're getting more than 10, then try to keep that number. So just in case anybody objects to the fact that I'm referring to steel beanies flippers and you think, oh, men make it do that, it's not a natural thing, it does. It is actually, seals do beat their flippers together in the wild, but they do it for exactly the opposite reason men make them do it. So it must be very confusing for them when they're made to do it by men. So you length to the top head, breathing up in the ribs, scoop it in. And last one. And then bring it down. And again, just sit back in, stretch, or roll on your back, hook your knees in. I'm actually going to just push myself up, so I'm ready for the next exercise. Yeah, the beat their flippers together to warn off other seals, but not to be nice and friendly. So I know it's not to do Pilates, but hey, I find it interesting. Hopefully you do too. And I'm going to bring around and get you shoulder bridge. You can push back up. 9, 16. Excuse me. So you take your band again if you're going to use your band. You can do this. You can do this with a ball between your knees. You can do it with a couple of cushions between your knees if you have a couple of cushions. That'll work the inner thighs. With the band, it'll work towards the outer thighs. Without a band, it's going to really focus on the big glute. And the focus of the exercise is on the big glute. Oh, so you bring the legs back. You don't need to do this thing I'm doing, but put them over the trouser legs. Hopefully, you don't need to do that. I just need to do that to get my ankles slightly in front of my knees, but not too far away. If your ankles are further forward, your hamstrings might cramp when you try to lift your leg, or even when you're just coming up and down. If your ankles are below your knee, it's not very nice in the double leg version. It's not very nice on your knees. Cannot be. So you might find it annoys your knees. So slightly in front with the double leg version is the best. There's a single leg version of this, and you do need your ankle below your knees, and it works pretty well. The double leg, it just doesn't seem to feel the same. So you've lifted your low back, you put your core in. So you're using your core to hold your hip and hold your spine in position. You don't want that spine to move when you're going up and when you're straightening the legs. You need it to move, so you need to turn the glute off on the way back down again. But we'll tell you that in a minute. So press down through your arms, feel like you're sliding your shoulders down your back a bit, and press down through your arms, so you'll feel the muscles working in triceps, back, and shoulder. And lats if you can get the shoulders down. So lats are the big muscles attached to your hip and to your arm, and they're again very important. So tighten on your glute, so you know you're there, you know you're working, even a bit more than that. I want you to stretch the band a bit with your knees if you're using it. If you're pressing on a ball or cushions, you are gonna press on them so you don't drop them. And if you're not using anything, don't let your knees fall apart. Don't let them come together. And you're gonna lift straight. So I can tuck my shirt out, it'll look better. So you lift straight up. You've got your tailbone lifted, your curves in your bottom of your back. Once you get up as high as you can go, or you've got to knees and hips and shoulders in a line, straighten out one leg, and it is straighten. It's not lift. So you're straighten out. It doesn't need to get fully straight either. Your focus is on not letting your hip drop and not or getting it tilt. Now you need it to move though, so you need to forget about your glute. It'll relax sufficiently that you can round down. You can think about a row of grapes, and you're going to break all the grapes one at a time until you're all the way down. You lift your low back, so you grip in there now, but you don't want to break it, so you tighten your glute and you lift straight up. Once you get to top 10, you're 100%. It's as rock solid as you can get it, so that your hips as steady as you can keep it as you try to move the legs. If you find that moving the legs, you just can't do it. You can just leave it out. But still, when you get to the top of the move, do tighten briefly to 100%. I want to get the signal from the brain down to the glute. And I want 3 different signals. So number one, tell me where you feel it. Breathe out, come up, breathe in at the top. 100%, breathe out, move one leg, bring it down. Move the other leg as you breathe out, breathe in, bring it down. Stop thinking about the glute. Don't try to relax it, just stop thinking about it. It will relax sufficiently that you can safely roll down, squashing all those imaginary grapes. Lift the tailbone up again, get the little gap, lift straight back up. So you're breathing out on the way up, breathe in at the top, breathe out as the leg moves, breathe in, bring it down, breathe out as the leg moves, breathe in to bring it down, and then breathe out, rolling down, one bone at a time, all the way down to the mat. Breath in to get it ready so that you can breathe out to lift. We'll do 2 more. You straighten out one leg, breathe in, bring it back, straighten out the other leg, Breathe in, bring it back. And then tuck in the tail under. You've stopped thinking about the glutes. No longer 100%. You roll down all the way down to the mat. Stretch out to the top of the head. And you're going to lift up. And then, same again, last time. Holding the hip high, making sure it doesn't move, doesn't tilt. And then rolling the spine down. And stretching out through the arms, stretching out to the top of the head, getting that long stretch. It's lovely. It's a stretch so many different things potentially. And stretch out. And then I'm going to right back and I'm going to roll and push up. I'll be seated. And I'm going to get into the spine, a side bend, sorry, seated. So I didn't give a seated version of the shoulder bridge. So my apologies for that. I couldn't think of one just there. Excuse me. But I'll try to get as many seated versions of things as I can. This is seated, so obviously you know this is going to work. If you have one of these, stability disc, if you sit on it, it actually makes this a much better exercise, I think, because your brain can't cheat. It makes it much more honest. I mean, you have to move the spine, you can't move the hip. So they're great if you want to sit on it. So other than that, you bring your legs apart. Your knees are apart, so your knees are wider than your hips. You want that surface area to help you to hold your hips steady. In this case, normally when I do seated, I like the legs together, so your core works harder. It works better when your knees are apart. In this one, now again, originally you mesh your hands together, but if you're male or you're tight, you'll find when you do that your elbows are forward, and that's just not a good place for them to be in the exercise. So I slightly overlap my fingers, and that allows me then to keep my elbows back. So I recommend that to most people. So you stretch right up. This was made by Kathy Grant, who was one of the ladies taught by Joseph Pilates. So you're going to bend sideways. So she didn't call it Pilates either, mind you. She called it the Kathy Grant method from memory. So you're going to bend to the side, breathing out, breathing through the middle, and you're going to bend the side. Now tighten on your glutes so they're going to hold your hips steady. So you will find a difference normally between your dominant side and your non-dominant side. So I'm right-handed, so I'm stronger on the right, so I get that amount of bend. So now I'm going to bend the left. So it's my weaker side trying to fight against my stronger side. And the stronger side is going to win to an extent, so I don't get quite the same bend to that side. But it's a proper bend. So again, your brain likes to compensate. It likes to make it look like you're doing everything right. So what you might find, and this is why I really need to tighten your glutes, is if you don't tighten your glutes, when you bend to the side, your brain takes a weight off the other side so that you can get further over. But you're not gaining anything by doing that. So just tighten the glute. In fact, you're losing out. So tighten the glutes so that you have to bend. It's better to bend a bit less than not bend. You're stretching up and really feeling you want to lengthen to the top of the head. So when you're doing this, your low back's curved in. You're making sure you've curved your low back in as close as you can get. Absolutely, definitely do not do this with your tail tucked under your back rounded because it's going to squeeze on disc. It's not going to be very good, not going to be very pleasant. It's safe to do when you've got osteoporosis, osteopenia, or it should be safe when you've got either of those things because it's a very small range of motion and it's totally in control. And that's one to each side. And keep seated. And you can use your arms. Actually, I'm going to get to use your arms. Use your hands. So what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to press your hands together. Press, bring your shoulders back, bring them down, and press where the bottom of your thumbs are. And just press your arms together. Your arms are quite bent. Straighten your arms out a bit so that you can clearly see that your wrist lower than your elbow and your elbow lower than your shoulder. Legs are posted together this time. Stretch up, and I'm going to get you to do a twist in the spine. So you're breathing out the turn. Then make sure you're pressing the hands together, and you should find that your arms aren't going to move independently. You're not trying to bring your arms any further around than you can turn with your spine. You're turning the side. It's called spine twist, although it's a bit of a misnomer because you're actually doing a rotation on the spine because the whole spine moving in the same direction. So you're turning, breathing in through the middle. You're turning, scooping in and up, breathing up into the ribs, pressing the hands together, lifting the core in. So spine twist, but really a rotation. Scoop it in and up. And again, from an osteoporosis point of view, it's not the biggest range of motion. It's totally in control. It's a really good idea to move your spine under those conditions. So uncontrolled twisting could actually do the same thing as the bend forward. It could damage the bones in your spine. Same with the side bend. But when you got it in control, when it's small range of motion, it should be beneficial. You breathe out, turn, breathing in through the middle, and last one to each side. And you let it relax. And we have a minute, and we're going to use it. So this is a physiotherapy stretch. You can either do my version of it or you do the original. It's normally done standing up, okay? So I'm just letting you know if you want to stand up and do this, then that's how it's normally done. I'm going to do it seated so you can see it. So the original exercise, the original stretch, the original physio version, you mesh your hands together behind your back. So I just add a band next. I just feel more with a band. So if you take the band, have it single, don't double it up, and you're holding the band, and you're going to bring your shoulders back, and you're going to pull. So you bring your shoulders back, whether your hands are the original version or this version, and then you lift your hands away from your back. And you should then feel that across the front of the chest. Slide your shoulder blades close together, and that makes those muscles work. And that should make the muscles you can stretch soften, so you can get a better stretch. You're stretching the chest. So again, when you round your shoulders, probably the deeper chest muscles done a lot of that, and then the more well-known flat muscle in the front has tightened up. So you're stretching it, and you're making the muscles that normally get stretched and weak, you're making them work. So it's good thing to do for posture for rounded shoulders. And then ease that out. And as ever, thank you very much.